It's Wednesday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns 5 Points podcast presented by Harrison Williamson, Cross Country Mortgage. We are the Dugas brothers. He is Thomas. I am Beck. Just want to start this episode by thanking everyone who listens. Please go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you watch or listen. Please subscribe. Please make sure to comment questions, thoughts, opinions. We love hearing from listeners and watchers, and we hope to engage with those on social media as well as tailor episodes around these comments and thoughts from our fans. So we have a very special announcement to start off this episode. So I'm going to give the floor to Thomas, owner of Touchdowns 5 Points.
Yeah, so we have a unique opportunity this weekend. The women are playing Ole Miss on Sunday, and College Game Day for women's basketball is going to be in Columbia for that game. And so Touchdowns was approached about hosting a party with ESPN to just kind of, drum up excitement for game day being in town. It's something that I'm really excited about. My staff is really excited about. I was told that ESPN reached out to us because they have kind of been doing this around the country. They are looking for a college bar. They told me that they didn't want a corporate restaurant. They wanted something that is unique to Columbia, but they also, reached out and did some market research with current students and alumni, and that research led them to us. So it is incredibly, humbling and validating and exciting that, I'll be honest, I do feel like Touchdowns has kind of turned a corner in popularity ever since January. We've been pretty busy this semester relative to how we've been previously, but to get that confirmation from an outside third party feels really good. So if you're listening to this from Columbia, it's this coming Saturday, the 21st, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The flyer says 13 and up, but really it's family friendly. They want people of all ages to attend and feel comfortable attending. ESPN has prepaid for food and drinks, so they're going to be giving out drink tickets to those old enough to consume legally and responsibly. But they're also going to be giving out food vouchers for appetizers and sides. So if you're in Columbia and want to come out and be part of a fun event, I believe that they're going to be shooting footage for B-roll to be part of the show on Sunday. So if you want to come check it out and maybe be on TV, we'll be down here. But it's really exciting that we've been included in this, and I hope that this is exactly the type of stuff that I wanted for Touchdowns. Like, this is, exactly the vision of what I hoped and thought that we could be. So looking forward to this event. Hopefully it goes off without a hitch, and we can continue to do stuff like this in the future with all types of Gamecock athletics.
Yeah, that is, cool as shit that the current student body as well as alumni base really brought ESPN to Thomas and Touchdowns. It shows what the hard work that you put in and what you've built Touchdowns to this point. There's a little bit of a payoff there that other people are starting to notice the work you put in. But this is going to be an awesome event. As Thomas mentioned, free booze essentially for those that are of age, and also some free apps. Great time to go down and hang out on Saturday. There'll be some, I'm assuming some men's college basketball games on the TVs. So good time to get out on Saturday afternoon and early evening and get you some cold drinks and some good food and hang out. And like Thomas said, maybe have the chance to be on TV and be a part of the broadcast. Big game in Columbia on Sunday against Ole Miss. We mentioned, the women's game against LSU this past Saturday was the first women's game ever broadcast on ABC Saturday primetime. Now we got College Game Day coming this weekend, so a lot of the eyes in the women's game are on the Gamecocks, and we are cheering this team on going into March. So that's going to be a great event. Go down to touchdowns on Saturday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Go Cox on that one. That's going to be awesome, Thomas.
Yeah, we're very excited. Very excited about it.
Yeah, I wish I could make it down there. But yeah, if you're in the Columbia area, even if you're traveling to Columbia for the game, potentially go a day early and check out this party. Check out the scene down there in 5 Points. So let's talk about something that we've been bringing up, and it came up on the last episode. So we decided to make it a part of a podcast episode, and that is Thomas and I putting on our college football commissioner hats. And we've bemoaned some of the things in college football. We love some of the things. We have differing opinions on the current state of college football and what all's going on. So we decided that why don't we do an exercise where I get to be commissioner and implement what I would like to see in college football. And then Thomas is also going to do the same thing. So I'm going to present my plan, and then Thomas will present his, and we'll go back and forth a little bit. And we want to hear from y'all. So as you listen to this episode, please listen to both, hear us both out, hear the debate almost. It might be a presidential debate style conversation when it all comes down to it. But let us know in the comments whose vision for college football you like more. What would you change from my vision or Thomas's vision? But we think this will be a fun exercise, and we'd like to hear everyone else's opinions as well, because this is something that a lot of the talking heads are talking about, and a lot of the people that care about college football the most, aka us, the fans, you guys. We love this game, and we want to see it continue to thrive. And so let's get into this. All right, I got some stuff for you here, Thomas. So I'm going to start off. The first thing I'm doing is I'm forcing Notre Dame to join the ACC. That is gonna be the first thing I'm doing as college football commissioner. They need to join the ACC. It'll do a lot of things, in my opinion. It eliminates this BS clause in the playoff that they get in if they're top 12. It forces them to play an equitable schedule to other Power Four teams. And I think it honestly, Notre Dame's a good program, so it's going to bolster the ACC, and I think that's good. That's good for the landscape of college football. I'm then looking at FCS opponents. I'm eliminating FCS games in the college football regular season. What I would like to see happen is FCS opponents be played in spring games. So typically, spring games are free for the fans. I know that this might not be received well as far as paying for a spring game, but I think if you give the fans a game against another opponent, I mean, we pay to see the Gamecocks play Furman in the fall. Why wouldn't we pay to see them to play them in the spring? I think it gives Furman an opportunity, and these FCS programs, again, these bye games are meant to help these FCS programs generate revenue. So I don't want that revenue to go away from them. But I also think, FCS opponents in today's day and age, they just need to be eliminated from the regular season. And I think it'd be a good revenue driver for football programs in the spring to be able to have a sold out crowd at a spring game, and actually getting entertainment value and getting a real read on what your team's like in the spring. These spring games are, glorified scrimmages. They don't really, I know you don't want to show too much in the spring, but in reality, I think this would be good to help develop your program. And again, it's a revenue driver. It's a fun game. I'm not saying we need to charge normal ticket prices for these types of games like we would in the fall. There's only a limited amount in the fall, so I know prices are based on that. So just a fun opportunity for people to be able to go watch a game, feel a real environment in all these home stadiums. Next thing, and I guess, well, I'll go to this. I'll go to this point off of the eliminating FCS opponents. I also want to see basically everyone go to a 9-game conference schedule in the Power Four, and then have 2 out of conference Power Four games and 1 group of 5 game. So again, we're eliminating FCS teams from the schedule. So we're going to have 2 mandated out of conference Power Four games and a group of 5 game out of conference, which leads me to maybe my, I think I've mentioned it before, but mid-season SEC Big 12 Challenge, ACC Big 10 Challenge. And the reason those 2 conferences, I have the conferences aligned like that, is because of the symmetry with ACC has 18 teams once you add Notre Dame. Big 10 has 18 teams. And then SEC has 16 teams, and the Big 12 has 16 teams. So, and a lot of people see the SEC and Big 10 up here and the ACC and Big 12 down here. So makes sense for maybe the 2 stronger conferences to play the 2 weaker conferences. I don't know, but I want to see this mid-season. So if you're looking at a team like South Carolina, how our schedule is going to be built, we're going to have Clemson at the end. We're going to have a group of 5 scheduled first. We have our SEC conference games in between, with the SEC Big 12 Challenge in the middle of the schedule. This is going to create meaningful games throughout the year. I do like cross-conference play just because of when you're arguing rankings and you're arguing strength of schedule, it's hard to verify that when teams aren't playing each other across conference. It's basically, hey, South Carolina played 3 out of conference week games, and then they played in the SEC. How can we judge them to a Big 12 team? So I want to see more Power 4 teams playing each other out of conference. I think this solves it. I think it would be fun to have a challenge. They do it in basketball. I think it would have even more meaning in football, just for conference pride and giving a true picture of what these conferences really are at the middle of the season. So they played almost half their schedule, and it's going to allow for some real insight into who are the stronger conferences in that particular season. We're going to move the season up 1 week. So the season's going to start before Labor Day. And that's key, because I think everyone talks about Labor Day as a huge weekend for college football, and I would agree. But by doing this, you can actually, and the way the schedules are going to be structured, you might have a team that, we have a Power Four non-conference rival that we play at the end. So teams that don't have that, they might be scheduling their group of five opponent towards the end of their schedule as opposed to at the beginning. But I still think you're going to have teams, because you have to schedule at least two out of conference Power Four games. You're going to still have teams in that week one scheduling high profile games. So you'll have high profile viewing. But then week two is going to be conference slate. So that Labor Day weekend, you're still able to, as a conference, this is going to be your first showcase weekend of your conference games. So the Big Ten, ACC, SEC, Big 12, they're going to look at scheduling premier matchups early in the season on that Labor Day weekend, and I think we'll get a lot of good action on Labor Day weekend as a result of that. How this affects the schedule going forward as well. This is going to move up rivalry week. So essentially, rivalry week will be played the week before Thanksgiving. And then you get championship week that will be played Thanksgiving week. So that's going to move everything up to round out the schedule. We'll have round one of the playoffs December 5th, the quarterfinals December 12th, the semifinals December 19th, and then the national championship will be played on January 1st, portal from January 2nd to January 9th. So I think this does a good job of harnessing the college football schedule. I think they'll probably have to, what teams will have to do and maybe make it mandatory. Bye weeks need to come later in the season. No September buys, basically maybe get to the SEC Big 12, ACC Big 10 challenge weekend before any buys are given. And then all buys for everyone are given, after that mid-season tournament per se. But I think condensing the season is important. This bullshit with the national championship being played on like January 25th next year, it's just stupid. So I want to see that condensed. One thing I wanted to also add to championship week, and this is due to my preferred playoff format, which is going to be 4 Power Four conference champions auto bid. And then the highest ranked group of 5 is in. And then there's 7 at-large bids at play for the rest of the country. What I want to add to championship weekend is using 5 bowl sites for additional games on championship weekend, because we can't have the scenario where teams are playing in conference championships and those games not mattering because there's not another data point for other teams in contention for playoff spots. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 10 highest ranked teams that aren't in conference championship games, and we are going to have them play neutral site games the same weekend as championship weekend as if they're in a conference championship game. So what that would have looked like this year, we would have had, Indiana, Ohio State, shout out to the Cajun Cousins, Indiana, Ohio State in the Big Ten, Georgia, Alabama in the SEC championship, Texas Tech, BYU in the Big 12 championship, Duke, Virginia in the ACC championship. Then we have basically 5 other games that weekend. Oregon versus Southern Cal, and this is basically I'm pitting highest ranked team to lowest ranked team in these 5 other games. Oregon versus Southern Cal, Ole Miss versus Utah, Texas A&M versus Vandy, Oklahoma versus Texas, Notre Dame versus Miami. Now, in this scenario, obviously we got 3 rematches of games that had previously happened earlier in the year. I don't know if that's an anomaly. Maybe there's room for tweaking in those games, but essentially, what I want is data points for other contending teams, and I want the championships games to matter because, again, you're in if you win your conference championship. So that's essentially a play-in game. But I also don't want protection for losers of conference championship games. Again, because Bama essentially walked into the SEC championship, got their ass whooped, and it didn't hurt them. So I need these conference championship games to matter. I think, to your point, it matters if you win the SEC, but you look at Ohio State in 2024, they lost to their rival and they didn't win the Big Ten and they still won the national championship. I think, the conference championships do matter, but in this scenario, they matter because it helps you. It helps you in the pursuit of a national championship. It's not just a standalone accomplishment. It is that, but it's also helping pursue in a national championship pursuit. Finally, transferring. I'm going to allow one free transfer for anyone in college football. You are also eligible to transfer if your coach leaves a program. For instance, I transfer to South Carolina and I'm playing for Shane Beamer. He leaves South Carolina. I'm then able to transfer again, even though I already transferred to South Carolina. So essentially one free transfer, but if your coach leaves your program, you're also able to transfer in that instance if you so choose. And then 5 years to play for. No more of this extended eligibility. It's cut and dry. There's no more COVID bullshit. You leave high school, you have 5 years to play for. That means you get hurt, you can redshirt. You don't play your freshman year, you can redshirt. But none of this 6 year of eligibility, 7 year of eligibility. We're not doing court cases. It's cut and dry. You have 5 years to play for. And I know that there's opportunity for these guys to make money, but to my knowledge, if you get injured, you don't give back your NIL money. So it's not like they're missing out on NIL money when they're redshirting or if they get hurt. So pretty much have 5 years to make money in college football, and then you move on to your career in the NFL or your career outside of football. So that's going to be I think I covered all of my points. Hopefully it wasn't jumbled.
One question about your eligibility window. Does that include JUCO and all other divisions? So it's like 5 years from the moment that you graduate high school. Like, so if you play, 3 years in JUCO and transfer, like that counts against your clock.
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I covered all of the points that I had, and laying that out there. Let's hear what you have, Thomas, for as college football commissioner.
So we agree on a lot of things. I have a couple of tweaks. I am also going to eliminate FCS games from the regular season. I'm going to allow teams to schedule an FCS opponent in the spring game, like you did as well. I'm also going to allow one FCS game as a preseason game. So that allows, 2 opportunities for FCS schools to play Power 4 opponents and earn the revenue that they need to keep their athletic program going. It'll give, Power 4 programs a chance to get a real look in the spring, as well as a real look at what they have in fall camp and have a better gauge of what they need to correct before the season starts. I am also going to mandate 2 non-conference Power 4 games and 1 Group of 5 game. So I think every major conference is at a 9-conference game schedule now that the SEC is adopting one. And then you have to play 2 Power 4 non-conference games outside of that and 1 Group of 5. That allows every, school that has a non-conference rival to maintain that rivalry, but not be at a disadvantage to the schools that don't, because everybody has to play 2 non-conference Power 4 opponents and 1 Group of 5. That also allows Group of 5 programs that are serious about trying to make the playoff the opportunity to schedule aggressively enough to have a strength of schedule that deserves a look. Because if Power 4 opponents have to play a Group of 5 team, it means that they're going to be able to get at minimum 3 Power 4 opponents on their schedule. And if they are smart about how they schedule those games, that's going to increase their strength of schedule. I am not going to make Notre Dame join a conference if they don't want to, but I'm also not going to give out any auto bids. So I like the number 12. I'm still only going to have 12 teams make the playoff, but I am going to move the season forward like you did, and I am going to have additional games on championship weekend. So the championship games and the games that are also played on championship weekend will count as a data point. So if Notre Dame does not join a conference, most years they're going to be playing on championship weekend anyways. But if you lose your conference championship, that could bump you out of the top 12. If you lose that game that is played on championship weekend as a team, like you had the top 10 highest ranked teams outside of conference championships playing, if you lose that game, you're probably out of the 12-team playoff. But if you win that game, what I'm going to have is the top 4 seeds get a bye, as they do right now. But the thing that I'm going to change that I think should happen and might happen is if you're a top 4 seed, you get to play round 2 at home. Right now, the 5 through 8 seeds, they host round 1 in their home stadium. I'm going to keep that the way it is, but I'm going to add in a wrinkle that the top 4 seeds get to play round 2 at home. So I think there's been a lot of complaints about how the top 4 seeds haven't really benefited from being a top 4 seed in most of the playoffs. Indiana is the only top 4 seed that's even won a game in the 12-team playoff. But I think between getting a first-round bye and getting to play round 2 in your home stadium, that is definitely an advantage for those top 4 seeds and definitely an incentive to want to be in your conference championship and win your conference championship. It's not a guarantee that winning the Big 12 is going to get you that top 4 seed, but it can't hurt. Outside of that, I'm going to have I'm not going to cut down. Like, I'm still going to let players transfer as much as they want, but I'm going to have the portal window be the portal will not open until the season ends. So we will play the national championship, and then the portal will open after that, and it will close when the last spring game is played. So, the season ends, you can go into the portal. If you want to practice, spring practice, and play a spring game, and then you don't like where you are on the depth chart at that point, you can leave and join another roster before the next season starts. But after the spring games have completed, there needs to be no more roster movement Like that'll essentially be the start of next season, and you cannot move again until the end of next season. I'm going to do 6 years to play for, just to kind of, because they passed a new redshirt rule where you can essentially play 9 games and still redshirt. But that's gonna be a hard window, basically JUCO eligibility, Division II eligibility, Group of 5, Power 4, it all counts the same. You graduate high school and your clock starts and you have 6 years to play for. But I don't think that the player movement is as big of an issue as people make it out to be. I don't think the money is as big of an issue as people make it out to be. I think it's the windows. So, there won't be any movement allowed during the season. The season ends. The players can move around at the end of spring, after the last spring game is played. The portal closes, and you can't move again until the end of next season. That'll just make it easier for coaches to not have to recruit their rosters while they're trying to compete for a national championship. And there won't really be this issue that we had this year where Lane Kiffin is trying to build his team at LSU for next season with Ole Miss players that are actively still playing. So, relatively similar to yours. The biggest difference is the auto bids. I'm not going to have, if a Group of 5 team wants to make the top 12, they're going to have to be really strategic with their non-conference games. Basically, if a Group of 5 team wants to make it in my playoff, they're going to have to run the table, and they're going to have to, by scheduling 3 Power 4 teams that can, they're going to need 1 or 2 of those teams to be ranked, and they're going to need to win those games to have a shot at the 12 seed. But I don't think that's impossible. And I think that settling as much of it on the field as possible, having the conference championship games count as a data point, and having those extra games on championship weekend count as a data point, it removes, the committee's ability to mess it up. Also, the way that we have the schedule structured, if every team is playing 2 non-conference games every single season and 9 conference games every single season, the win-loss records are already going to be a lot more like, you're not going to have a team kind of sneak their way to 10-2 or 11-1. We're going to see it happen on the field, and there will be more than enough data points to kind of pick the correct 12. And then, I think 12 is the proper number for what is actually deemed as making the playoff and getting credit for being in the field. A lot of people will say, oh, well, if you play an extra game on championship weekend, that's essentially the first round of the playoffs. And in a lot of ways it is. But if you play on that weekend and lose and you're not in the final top 12, you don't get to hang the banner of making the playoffs for that year, which is a distinction.
Yeah. I don't agree with wait until spring to close the portal. And I just think logistically, even if I didn't have that opinion, I think you're going to run into the issue of the academic calendar with that proposal.
But that's what I'm saying. I do not care about that. They're not.
Yeah, but you have to.
No, I don't. I'm commissioner. I'm making the rules. I'm saying school has never mattered. This arbitrary, they need to enroll in classes to be eligible is stupid. They offer Maymesters. They offer summer classes. Most of these kids are graduating in 3 years anyways. Like, I don't care about that anymore. The portal opens when the season ends in January after the national championship. They can be on South Carolina at the start of spring practice, and if they end spring practice as fourth string or like fourth on the depth chart, and they want to transfer then and try and find an opportunity where they have a better chance of playing before next season, that's fine. And then we can bring people in. But the rosters really need to be set and shaped by the summer. Like the group that you have for summer one and summer conditioning needs to be the team for next year. You know who you have in fall camp for the preseason game, and that is your team, and that will be your team until the end of next season. National championship is played, and then the movement can ensue again. That is basically how I feel like.
I hear you. I disagree with that calendar. I think a week for the portal, and then it closes up. And I mean, yeah, if you're a kid and you get put to fourth string, I mean, sorry, bro. Beat like, let's breed some competition here. Let's not just have all these kids, crying and transferring every spring. It's like you made the decision to transfer, and I guess in your world there's unlimited. So in my world, you have to be strategic about how you transfer, because you're only going to get to transfer one time unless your coach leaves. So one other thing that I forgot to mention was, I would like to see, in my 12-team playoff, I would like to see round one neutral site bowl games. I don't think we should reward 5, 6, 7, 8 with home games. But then we're going to be on campus for the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and so we're basically going to be reseeding the playoff as we go in this instance, similar to the NFL. So, if a 5 seed beats a 12 seed, they're going to go play the 4 seed on their campus. But then if the 8 seed upsets the 1 seed, that 4-5 game is going to be hosting the 8 seed in the semifinal. So it'll be reseeded based on. So you might end up getting a home game as a 5, 6, 7, 8 seed. But out of the gate, I want to see the neutral site, because I want to see 2 rounds on campus. In my proposal, I had, the Rose Bowl as the national championship venue every year. I don't necessarily care about that. I think it could rotate, but I also think having a destination game for the national, destination for the national championship every year, it's the same place. I think that would be cool. You can kind of use the other major bowl sites, for the first round of the playoff games, for the the additional games on championship weekend. Obviously, the SEC championship is in Atlanta, so is the Peach Bowl. So you can't use that site on the same weekend. So maybe the Peach Bowl is reserved for a first round playoff game, and you use some of the other bowl sites on championship weekend for those additional games. But yeah, I think overall we do have a similar outlook to where we want to see college football go. Now, obviously, we're coming from the mindset of, I can't go back to old conference. If I could go back, I would say give us the old SEC, the old ACC, old Big Ten, old Big 12, and Pac-12 prior to conference expansion. But we can't live in that world anymore. So I think these are the things that'll make the game better going forward. I just want to see more marquee games, and I think if everyone's playing them, it's only going to be better for the sport. Like, it's crazy, and I know the SEC gets rolled for it, but the FCS weekend prior to the second to last week of the season, and everyone rags on the SEC, like, why are y'all playing these games in November? And it's like, well, the Big Ten does it. They just do it in September. Like, they have multiple teams that play just dog shit in September before their 9-game conference schedule. I just want to see more big games all the time throughout the season. Every game matters. Another thing that I forgot to mention uh, with my vision for college football is rankings will not be released until after the SEC, Big 12, ACC, Big 10 challenge in the middle of the season. So no rankings before then. You don't need when
You
you
can control independent publications because the college football
sure,
playoff.
but nothing. There's nothing official though. Like I'm saying, nothing official.
But there currently aren't, like, the college football playoff rankings don't come out till week 8. All of the rankings prior to that are technically not official, but you can't, like, the Associated Press is always going to put out a preseason top 25. We probably need to do the touchdowns 5 points preseason top 25 because every show, every Twitter account, everybody does a ranking, and you can't
sure,
stop
but
people from doing that.
but I agree with you there. But the AP poll can work in conjunction with college football to make this happen because the AP poll is what's used by broadcast. What no one uses the fucking Brandon Walker top 25
Right.
for actual
Well,
college broadcast.
They're not going to not market the week
I know,
one
but
matchups
that's what I'm
as
saying.
ranked matchups.
You don't need rankings to sell these games. Like Texas, Ohio State, they don't need to have a 2 and a 3 beside their names to sell that matchup come September whenever they play this year in Austin.
Not to us, but to casuals, to people that don't really follow college football. It's way easier. Like, a TV network is never going to be like, I don't want to use, like, the team that's number one for my broadcast. If they have the opportunity to be like, we have a top 5 matchup, that's how they're going to sell it. I get where you're coming from because they're dumb and they cause issues further down the line, but it's just that
to your point about the academic calendar, that's why I'm the commissioner. I rule with an iron fist.
All right, fair enough.
That'd be the first thing.
I'll allow it.
I got to tell these TV execs to suck it if they want the product that they're buying the rights for. You can sell these games without rankings, and that would lead into kind of the hype around the challenge and having these conferences pitted against each other, and then the rankings to follow. But then I only want to see. Again, this is another little tweak. Rankings from the AP poll come out, but not official college football playoff rankings. I don't want to see those until Selection Sunday, which, similar to basketball, like there's the AP poll in basketball, there's the net rankings, there's all of these measurements for how good a team is, but you don't know where you are until Selection Sunday. So that's what I would like to have happen in college football as well. After championship weekend, that Sunday, the 4 conference champions are in, the highest ranked group of 5 is in, and then you have the Selection Sunday for the 7 at large and the seeding, obviously. But I don't like this bullshit of the show of, hey, we're going to do college football playoff rankings on Tuesday nights, and it's just the committee contradicting themselves over the course of a few weeks. Like, I think it's stupid. We can use the AP poll again. I think having the AP poll released in the middle of the season prevents, you have obviously biases that are created by preseason polls, and early season wins are inflated or not as good. So I'd like to see things play out before rankings are released. And then after that challenge, you get a sense of, wow, the ACC just took 12 out of 18 games against the Big Ten. Maybe the ACC is a little stronger and the Big Ten's a little weaker this year. There's not the bias of thinking the Big Ten's the stronger just because they typically are. And so you actually have some data for the initial rankings, and then those rankings now become data points for what will eventually be the Selection Sunday. So it's not like a situation where Alabama has a bunch of ranked wins, but really their only good win was against Georgia. I mean, and Vandy, I guess. But they beat Tennessee and Missouri, who turned out to be not that great. So I think eliminating preseason polls will help refine the rankings and make for a better ranking system. Because that's my biggest, if we're going to keep the committee, I think we at least need to help them as much as possible because they are stupid and they don't know ball. And
the extra data point, like the effect of everybody playing a non-conference game schedule and 2 mandated non-conference Power 4 games and the extra round of games on championship weekend, like there's not going to be this log jam of 10-2 teams from 10 to 18 like there has been, because everyone's going to lose more. Like if there's a 10-2 team in that environment, or like it'll just be a much.
But the log jam is just going to be 9-3 teams instead of 10-2 teams. There'll still be a log jam in the middle.
I think that it'll be a lot clearer of a picture because the good teams will actually separate themselves from the fray.
I mean, I agree with
right.
you,
we might just be in the same boat, but everyone's 9-3
or
8-4 instead of 10-2.
There's going to be instances
but
where
I think that if we have all these extra extra
it's a log
competitive
jam,
games,
and you have to,
like the top 10 will be blatantly obvious in that scenario.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You got to rank the teams after they've played. Like, if you rank the teams middle of the year, there's a reason they rank the teams in the college football playoff rankings.
I'm just saying, you're saying we need to, help the committee as much as we can and babysit them as much as we can. If we got our way with how the schedule is formatted, I think the committee's job just becomes a lot simpler, and that they'll be less liable to screw it up.
I agree, but I still think having before we start putting numbers in our heads of how good teams are, like Clemson and LSU and South Carolina, we were all preseason top 10 teams, top 12 teams, and we all sucked. And so, and people by the middle of the season, people knew we weren't a top 10 team. So, people knew Clemson wasn't a top 10 team. People knew LSU wasn't a top 10 team by the middle of the season. So, that's what I'm saying. At the middle of the season, we can assess and say, wow, we maybe thought that team was good, but they're actually not. So that's why I'm saying, that's when I think you should have the rankings become official. People can make their bullshit list, and they're always going to make their bullshit list. But I also think you'll have no problem selling games because they're going to be big matchups, week in, week out, in this new scheduling format. But no, let us know what y'all think. I know we were pretty similar. We agree on a lot of things, but disagree on certain things, especially around transfers and the transfer portal. Auto bids. What do y'all think about auto bids versus just taking top 12 teams? What about Notre Dame joining the ACC? That's one thing we disagree on as well. Let us know what y'all think about our visions for college football and what are some of your ideas. We'd love to hear from the listeners and watchers what y'all's ideas are. So comment in the comments and interact with us on social media with your ideas. Reluctantly, we move to Gamecock basketball. This will be brief because we're beating a dead horse with this topic. This is Court Cox Chatter presented by Cajun Cousins. And sorry to the Cajun Cousins that y'all are sponsoring a segment on the Gamecocks men's basketball team. We're really gonna, when we start talking women's basketball, as it heats up into March, y'all will definitely be sponsoring all of our women's basketball content. So shout out to the Cajun Cousins. But yeah, we lost to Florida at the O-Dome last night. I watched a majority of the game. We were overmatched. I mean, they beat us by 40 in Columbia. We were 24-point underdogs. We covered the spread. So I don't even know if that's an accomplishment, but we're just overmatched. We're not good. And it's just the same old, same old. So I'm not even gonna spend a lot of time on it. But Cox basketball is in dire straits, and we'll see what happens with Lamont. We've talked about that with the buyout and everything. But the one thing I will say is basketball is a sport where one or two guys can change your trajectory quick. We talked about it last episode, so I still have hope if we can somehow find. I mean, hell, if we got someone who's willing to pay a buyout for Lamont, maybe we have someone who's willing to give him some money to go into the portal and potentially get some game changers in the portal, so we can have a better season next season. So
that is completely my position on this, is that we would be much better served not paying Lamont $11.5 million to not coach here, but instead, if we can find private money to help pay that buyout, we should just take that much money or half that much money and go get him two really good players and spend it that way. Like, I
agree.
I don't think he's a bad coach. I mean, like, he got us to the tournament once. He needs more ammunition than we're giving him, and he needs more. I guess not time, but
no, yeah, we
if we have $11.5 million to fire him, we should just spend that on our roster rather than fire him.
I agree. Yeah, let's go get fuck it. Let's rally around him. Let's get some buy-in, and let's go get some game changers. And if he can't win with that, then you can him. Yeah, it's bleak right now, but hopefully we can get some investment and go get some guys and try and win next year. But yeah, it's pretty much over for this season. But quickly touching on this, the baseball team won against Wofford last night, 5-1. Pretty cool. The game was played in the new baseball stadium up in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So not technically a home game for Wofford, but I guess we were the road team. Good to get a win. In-state school. I should have hit up our boy Luke Feisel for some tickets. He's a former Wofford baseball player and current GM for the Hub City Spartanburgers up there in Spartanburg. So I wish I would have done that and gone out to the game, but shout out to Luke Feisel. But anyways, great to get a win. This doesn't tell us anything about this team. Again, we talked about it. We struggled a little bit with Northern Kentucky, and we're going to see about this team real quick. We definitely have the series against Clemson coming up in a couple weeks, which should be fun, assuming we can take 2 out of 3 or maybe sweep. But if we lose that series, my expectations are going to start dipping, and it's only going to get harder into SEC play. So we'll know a lot here in the next couple weeks about this team, and maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle and get some Gamecock calories going for trademark some Gamecock calories going for for the spring in baseball leading into fall. So that was a fun episode, Thomas. Anything else you want to cover? A reminder, everyone go out to Touchdowns on Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. college game day party. And support the women's team on Sunday at Colonial Life. Big game against Ole Miss. But yeah, Touchdowns 5 to 9 for the college game day party. But go to Touchdowns anytime, really. There's always cold drinks, sports on, good people, and get you some wings, get you a Philly cheese. But that's going to be a wrap on this episode. Please like, subscribe, comment, talk about this episode. Tell us how wrong we are about our vision for college football. Tell us how right we are. Tell us your ideas. YouTube, YouTube, Spotify, Apple to watch or listen. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok to watch clips and comments and interact with us on social media. So hope everyone has a great night. As always, go Cox.
Go Cox.